What is up, gamers? Enforcer 5150 here, and yes, we are back to do another Crash Fix video because, a new game came out, Starfield, and of course, developers aren't always on top of things, so we need to actually fix a few things ourselves and, maybe just wait for some patches. Now, however you feel about the game right now, I'm not really going to comment on that. I'm only about 2 hours in, and I just wanted to share some of these things that's been happening. So let's go ahead and get right to some of these crash fixes. Alright, so first thing we want to do is go ahead and acknowledge some of the things that people are experiencing, which is there's crashes during the launch, character creation, gameplay, and sometimes just complete random. So these known issues, have to do with when you're using, specific weapons, and, there's always the dreaded launch crash. Like when you get the game and you just try to launch, you get a crash right away. So hopefully some of these will fix it. And I just want to also remind you that, sometimes these fixes won't do it because this is still very, very early in the game's release. Post your issue in the comments below, and then hopefully somebody will be able to help you. Or if I see it, I'll see if I can find a way around it as well. Anyway, let's go to the fixes. One of the main things people have been able to do, and I hate saying this for PC gamers because it is just sacrilege. Basically, you want to lock your FPS at 60. If you're experiencing instability, try capping your FPS to 60. It can normally stabilize the game, and you can do that with your, graphics card control panel, or obviously in game try turning on VSync to lock it at 60 hertz, or just keep your stuff at 60 hertz. Yeah, and that's kind of a worst case scenario, but it seems to be a lot of the fixes for many people. The next one is yes and no, because one is update your graphics drivers. Outdated graphics drivers, it should be done without saying, but a lot of times I forget it myself. Didn't realize that a new driver came out. We just had another one for NVIDIA on the 22nd, I believe, and the same goes for AMD. You want to try to update your graphics driver, but on the reverse end, there is a lot of cases where you may need to actually take your graphics drivers down. So if you're already on the latest drivers, maybe try rolling it back at least one, just to see if that will help as well. Alright, now the next one here is verify game files. So if you got the game on Steam, you can use verified integrity of game files, and it'll restore all the files if any of them are corrupted, which is a very common thing in new games. Sometimes it just doesn't download everything correctly, and then it lets you launch the game anyway. If you want to go ahead and do that, make sure that you have fresh, clean install the game if you're on a different platform, and that's usually worth it because this is a very large game. Alright, so the next thing is to lower your graphic settings. Another thing I hate to suggest, but sometimes it is possible that the higher quality is eating up some of the memory, eating up some of your graphics memory, even though that it doesn't seem like it is, and you're still getting 60 frames per second. And sometimes you may need to drop it down a little bit just to, get a new, fresh start on everything and see if that will work for you. So lowering those graphic settings can sometimes help your gaming experience. Alright, there's another thing, which is I've seen disabling mods. Now, Starfield doesn't really have any mods out for it directly, but if you have mods for like Fallout 4, Fallout 3, New Vegas, just anything using, say, Nexus Mod Manager or something like that, make sure that it is off and disabled so that you can be sure that it is not interfering with the game, because you gotta remember that Mod Manager does try to access those files, and it could potentially cause you some issues. Now, here's another one that I really think that people should be checking on their own, but most people really don't. But check for overheating. See if anything is overheating, like your CPU or GPU temperatures. Now this is something that you're going to need to use something external. I use Afterburner to watch my temperatures and how much frames per second I'm getting, how much utilization is happening on the CPU and GPU. So use whatever you want to use. If you're using NVIDIA, you can use NVIDIA's overlay for GeForce. That will also give you some information about your hardware as well. So just make sure that you're not going into crazy amounts of heat and not really realizing it. It being how hot it's been, if you don't have a very air-conditioned house, you might be overheating without really knowing it. All right, so another issue here is run as administrator. A lot of times that you need those extra permissions. It's not going to tell you on the crash, and it'll probably be in your event log or your event manager in Windows, and it's just not telling you when you actually crash. So a lot of times you just want to make sure you're running as administrator to make sure that all the privileges are up to date and anything that is related to that is not really getting in your way. So go ahead, right click your game file and run as administrator, or you can also go in and set it as a default to run the game as administrator by right clicking, go into properties, and then over to that security tab, and you should be good. Now, the next thing is kind of like I said in the beginning, is just check for community feedback. Like in this video, if you're having a problem or if you're having something that's not in this video, check by commenting, check the Steam forums and stuff like that. Sometimes somebody will be having the same issue as you, and then someone will come in, chime in, and have a fix for them. I think one of my last videos, one of the most commented is something that wasn't even in the video. Somebody posted what their fix was, and everybody loved it. It worked for pretty much everybody, even in a different game. So let's just remember that this is still in early access. I know that doesn't really supposed to mean much, but they do give us the game a little bit early. We're basically turning out to be beta testers when we get early access, and I know a lot of people don't like to see it that way. They just think, oh, I'm getting the game early, but really they're using everybody as beta testers in that first week. That's why they kind of do the whole early access thing. They know not everybody is going to buy and play the game get at that early access and pay that extra amount. So that gives them the opportunity to have a smaller portion of errors and issues that they can fix before the actual launch, which is September 6th. So just keep that in mind. Hopefully we'll get some fixes for all these things and some patches. Bethesda is pretty good at putting out patches. Sometimes it can take them a little bit. And I'm not even going to get into Fallout 76 because that one just was a complete train wreck. But I have hopes that we're going to have some better experiences here in Starfield. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for watching this video today. Make sure to hit that like button and definitely subscribe if you're new to the channel. Y'all take care and happy gaming.